Hey everyone, so if you recently watched my video, then you know that I built my raccoons a pretty large enclosure. And as you can imagine, this is the first enclosure I've ever built. So that being said, there's probably a lot of mistakes, and there are. So the biggest mistake came from this tree. When I built it, I was using epoxy, and I've never used the epoxy before. And so when it dried, like I knew this stuff was supposed to be hard, but this stuff was like rock solid. And so they're having a hard time getting their claws into it. I'm gonna have to find a way for them to, use this tree like I intended them to use. Since I've already known about this problem after I put Cheeto in here for a few minutes, I was able to come up with two pretty good ideas that I plan on doing to help remediate the problem. The first one is, there are these really cool mushrooms that actually grow into the sides of trees. They're like super big. So what I want to do is put one of those mushrooms probably around this area and then another one up here. And I'll use those as like stepping stones so they can eventually get up on the shelf up here. And so I think that'll be a great way for them to get up onto that ledge. However, I don't necessarily think they'll take that way down, because it might not be as easy for them. Some things are easier for them to climb up one way and it's easier to climb down a different way. This tree is actually hollow right here, and then just go straight to the bottom. So what I want to do is put like ledges in there. That way, they can climb down a lot easier. And they'll still have that whole bottom hollowed out in case they want to sleep in it. That's actually where Cheeto's been sleeping recently. I want to be able to fix this tree so they can actually use it as I intended. And I think those are two good ways to do it. So unfortunately, the tree wasn't the only mistake I made. When I was using this stuff, it was my first time, as I mentioned before, and so I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't know how messy it was gonna be. So if I were to do this again, I would have put some plastic down over the floor, and as you can see, I got epoxy all over it, and so it was like a nice clean finish. Now, not so much. Unfortunately, I have to do one of two things. I have to reseal it with, the sealant from the other video. Or I'm gonna have to put like some sort of carpeting down. And I kind of played around with the idea of like AstroTurf, but I don't know how well that will do because I pretty much have to get a single piece of it. Otherwise, they're gonna pull up at the seams and stuff. But I don't know how I'm gonna cut around, like this rock ledge or the tree down here. And I don't know if it'll just be something they just end up tearing up and eventually making it look really bad, like really quickly. I would like to do that, but I don't think that's actually the most ideal thing, but we'll see. So I'm still kind of playing around with it. I like the idea of the AstroTurf because it'll add some green in here, kind of make it a little bit less monochromatic. Plus it'll also give them a little bit of cushion and a little bit of insulation from the floor. So these are pretty much the two biggest mistakes I've seen. There's another thing that I'm kind of questioning is whether or not they can actually get on the shelf up here. And that's because there's no real way for them to, reach up there. It's so hard, they can't really get into it, and it's smooth. So my thought is I'm gonna have to figure out a way, probably build like some sort of bridge from that shelf to here. That way they can access that part as well. Yeah, I actually received two cameras from a company called Renovation. We've worked with them before and I really like their product. And they do like wireless video cameras, or like security cameras, I mean. As you can see, like when I was telling you about the tree, like they couldn't climb that very easily. I had to watch him try to climb it, or get down I should say. He could climb it up, but he couldn't really get down very well. And so, but I didn't know that until I saw it. So I want to put these cameras up in here and see where else are they struggling with, and that way I can fix the problem. Because if I don't know what's going on, there's no way I can fix it. And the best way to do it is leave him unattended, because he's gonna do things when he's on his own that he wouldn't do with me around. For one, if he's looking for a place to sleep, he's gonna, try to get up on the ledge because that's the highest point in the room. He's gonna try to sleep there first, but if he can't get there, I have to figure out a way, how can I build it so he can actually get up to the spots that he wants to. And my guess is he can't get up to that one. I'm questioning whether or not he can get to this one. There is a hole right down here where he can theoretically access, but I'm not quite sure, and that's why we're gonna put up the camera. So big thanks to Renovation. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to set up, and it takes about 5 minutes. It's really easy. I like the way it, like, how quickly you can set up a whole bunch of cameras, and you know, you're good to go once you get this one set up. So with that being said, I'll probably set those cameras up now, release Tito out into this cage. I mean, I guess technically he's right there, but yeah, and then we'll see what else he can or can't do. My biggest worry is that he can get up here and then access the track light. Oh yeah, this was supposed to be in part 2, so here's a little sneak peek. I put in the track light already instead of the fan. The lighting in here was horrible, and I know a lot of people had concerns that he was gonna get hit by the fan, but I think it was just the camera angle, because even from here, reaching up, there's no way that he could actually reach the fan. And so yeah, I know a lot of people were concerned about that. Oh, and another thing people were concerned about was that they thought this was toxic. This is actually Zoopoxy from Polygem Inc. And it's meant to be in zoo exhibits. So the people worrying about being toxic, this is 100% non-toxic, and it can be even used in ponds just because how safe it is. So all the stuff that was considered toxic, you know, like there's some areas that are still, you know, left uncovered, but they're going to be covered shortly in part 2. That would be considered the toxic part, but even that stuff isn't really that bad. And the foam from the tree, all of that's covered by the zoo epoxy, so they can't really get anything that's going to hurt them. So just want to put your worries aside, because I know that was some concern for some people. But yeah, these guys are well looked after, and I make sure to give them the best each and every time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and set these cameras up and see what Cheeto does on his own. Got the stationary one, got the one that moves, and then we got the solar panels for it. Although, like, since it's indoor, I'm not going to be able to use the solar panels. However, I'm going to be able to use the solar panels around my house. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these set up.
Camera has been started up. Please run reeling. Add the camera and set it up. Scan succeeded.
What are you gonna do now? Seriously? Alright, come here. Come here. Oh my gosh, you're too hot.